ready to go. Party time, man, I miss last year, so I can't miss this year. Boy, touch back the road, touch back the road. Whole team full force, cups up, let me make a toast. Hey, hey, when you drink your them, cups up, hey, make a toast to health and strength. Cups up, hey, sickness can't keep we home. Boy, and if the rain come down, we're not coming down. You what? Rum drinkers don't get sick. We don't need no fencing. We don't use no painkiller. We don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking about? Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all. Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all. Yeah, let me drink a thing. Open up your sinus. Bartender, mix it strong. Hurry up now. Boy, it's not hard to find us. We behaving rude. We're not drinking rum. Tell them this is antiviral. Hey, when you drink at them, cups up. Hey, make a toast to health and strength. Cups up. Hey, sickness can't keep we home. Boy, and if the rain come down, we're not coming down. You what? Rum drinkers don't get sick. We don't need no fencing. We don't use no painkiller. We don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking about? Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all. Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all.
Greetings and salutations, one and all.
We don't need no fencing.
I say big ups to my rum drinkers.
We don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum.
Not sending anybody to go do anything, you know. I'm just saying.
What I'm talking.
In fact, it's not even me saying, it's King Baba FM.
Feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all. Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't
Alright, Merle.
all. Yeah.
I don't know how bright a half moon shine.
I'm ready to go.
I want to say big ups to everybody locked in right now, those from near, those from far.
Touch back the road. Whole team full force. Cups up, let me make a toast. Hey.
Those locked in on TuneIn Radio. On the night shift to DJ Kevin Steele. Blessings to you. Massive on Zeno FM. Bubbling in the stew pot. Blessings and honor. Much love to the massive healing from across the pond. Top of the morning to you over there in the UK. King Genius, Queen Genius. Much love to y'all.
Drink, the thing feel so good. Help me to come back all. And don't study us all. Drink, the thing feel
To the massive up there in New Jersey.
back all.
Chilling out.
Study us all. Yeah.
Yeah, brr.
Nothing. Open up.
Yeah, it kinda rough.
Bartender, mix it strong. Hurry up now. Boy, it's not hard to
Massive locked in on NIE Radio.
food. We're not drinking rum.
Bouncing on a brother from another mother. The motivator.
Cups up. Hey, make a toast to health and strength.
Much love to y'all.
Cups up. Hey, sickness can't
Also to New Jersey.
boy. And if the rain come down, we're not.
Mix102.com.
You what? Rum drinkers don't get
With their sister station in Jamaica. Earth 96 FM.
painkiller. We don't use those things. Rum drinkers.
Blessings to you.
We drink rum.
Symbol. Go on, hold on the thing, yeah?
What I'm talking about. Drink, the thing feel so
I want to say blessings to the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com.
don't study us all. Drink, the thing feel
Hi, Mr. Lindsay.
good. Help me to
I didn't see you at the Reggae Honors Award.
study us all. Them.
Courtesy of the city of Lauderhill last night. What happened? Just know you were missed, okay? G Angel, I see you, sis.
Drinkers go
Big ups to the massive locked in on YouTube live.
We don't use no painkiller. We don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking about? Drink.
Those locked in on the home of the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, kevinstew.com.
Back, hold, and don't study.
Where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment. Welcome to you.
Good, help me do.
So glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. And you have my word, I wouldn't even try.
I'm ready to go. Party time and I missed last year, so I can't miss this year. Boy, touch back the road, whole team full force.
If there's anybody that I didn't big up, anybody that I left out, drop me a line. 773-789-STEW. That's me, you forget me. I want to say thank you to my segment sponsors.
We don't need no fencing. We don't use no paint.
One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation.
Drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking.
They're committed to protecting justice and equality for everyone, especially individuals who have been wrongfully accused, marginalized, or deprived of fair legal representation. At OJLDF, they believe every person deserves the opportunity to defend their rights regardless of their financial circumstances.
Hurry up now. Boy, it's not hard to find us. We behaving rude. We're not drinking rum till
I had the privilege of hanging out with the man himself, Mr. Will Rattigan, this past weekend. Yeah, put in some work up there, you know, in the northeast.
Drinkers don't get sick. We don't need no vet.
So yes, Merle,
We don't use no painkiller.
I'm back on home base.
Drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking about? Drink.
The sound of King Bubba FM in the background.
Come back.
A track called Don't Get Sick.
Drinkers don't get sick. We don't need no fencing.
I want to say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you, bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience.
So good, help me to come back. Hold, and don't study us all.
So if you're in any of those areas,
Drink the thing feel so good, help me to come back.
in need of a good massage, or you plan to travel to one of those areas, go ahead and link up with Althea, schedule your appointment
So I can't miss
to get your massage. She comes to you.
back the road, whole team.
Just call her up 954-655-9000 or send her a message. Say, listen, I heard you have Healing Heavenly Hands. This is where I'll be. This is the date I'll be there. Are you available? What are you charging? Because she only has one request outside of paying her. It's that you get off her table and go sleep somewhere else. It's called the Kevin Stew clause.
Don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold.
You never know until you experience it.
Talking about drink the thing feel
I want to say thank you to the Global Base,
back. Hold, and don't study us all.
Global Digital family.
Drink the thing feel so good, help me to
Global Digital navigates your journey across music, event marketing, and more. It's a realm where social spheres awaken through their mastery.
bartender.
So go ahead and embrace the invitation to liberate your creativity unbounded and free. Just like their consultation.
We're not.
Free.
This is antiviral. Hey, when you drink on them, comes up. Hey, make a toast to health and strength.
The Global Base is your catalyst for everything related to music production, radio, and event promotion.
And if the rain come down, we're not coming on. You want rum?
Connect with them on the globalbase.com. That's DAGlobalBASE.com.
We don't need no vet.
And tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
Painkiller. We don't use those things. Rum drinkers don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold. We drink rum for sickness. What I'm talking about? Drink the thing feel so good. Help me to come back. Hold, and don't stop.
I want to say thank you to McNeil Trucking.
Drink the thing feel so good. Help me to come.
McNeil Trucking is a licensed and insured veteran-owned mover in the state of Florida.
ready to go.
So if you want to move from the Keys to Jacksonville,
Last year, so I can't miss this.
or Naples to Palm Beach,
Touch back,
Pompano to Pensacola and all points in between.
comes up, loving it.
Want to put something in storage? Move something around the corner to a friend, family member,
Comes up, hey.
complete stranger who wants to get what you have.
Sickness can't keep me home, boy. And if the rain comes,
You don't have the manpower, you don't have transportation,
from drink,
you have no worries. You have the name, you have the number. McNeil Trucking.
no painkiller. We don't use those things. From drink,
Even if you want to move out of the state of Florida or into the state of Florida,
we drink from for sickness. What I'm talking about,
connect with them.
drink,
Call them up. 954-406-9740.
and no study.
That's 954-406-9740.
Help me to come back home.
Tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
Yeah.
And you need to move.
Open up your fingers.
Or you need to move some things.
Fix it strong. Hurry up now. Boy, it's not hard to find us. We behaving rude. We're not drinking rum. Tell them this is antiviral. When you drink on them, comes up. Hey, they got those.
Merle, when is Mandeville not freezing?
Sickness can't.
Every time I've been to Mandeville, I've been cold.
And if the rain come down, we're not coming up.
But I guess it's extra cold now.
From drinkers, don't get
Because if I am cold in South Florida,
we don't use no pain.
I'm not too surprised that you're chilly in Mandeville.
Don't catch cold. We drink rum for cold.
And you know,
For sickness.
I was going to talk about
Drink.
the cold and our health,
Help me to come back home.
but I'm going to put that off to another time.
Drink.
Instead,
So good. Help me to come back home. And don't study.
I'm going to talk about some diseases that are prevalent in the black community. Thank you, King Bubba FM. Giving us a little bit of an idea of how to stay healthy. Well, in his mind, that works. One said rum drinkers don't get sick. So, if that worked for you, all right, it worked for you. I am not one to tell you otherwise. I'm not one to say, hey, don't do, because if it works for you, it works for you. What I will say, however, is as people of color, or to put it just plain, black people, there are some conditions, some diseases that somehow manage to just stick with us. And it's not that people of other persuasions don't get it. It's just that there's so much with us. They say rum kill worms. I guess we could ask some rum drinkers. But we also know that rum kills a whole lot of other things too, like your liver. So, you know, work it out. Pick your poison. But one of the things that healthline.com tells us is when we seek medical care, we all hope that we will be provided the best care possible, right? Regardless of our individual circumstances. We expect that the treatment that we receive will be equal to that of everyone else's. And we trust that the people on our care team will also be on our team, regardless of any personal thoughts or feelings. Not that they should have any. But history has shown that not everyone is afforded this type of treatment when it comes to healthcare. In fact, one survey found that over 10% of black adults and an even higher percentage of black women and black adults living in low-income households report being unfairly discriminated against or judged by a healthcare professional. Over 10%, it sounds low, right? Well, that should be no percent. For millions of black people and other people of color in the United States, racial bias is a very real experience. It has led to serious healthcare disparities that affect everything from rates of diagnoses to treatment opportunities and even beyond that. So, you might ask, what exactly is racial bias in healthcare? All right, so this happens when attitudes and judgments towards people because of their race affect personal thoughts. It affects decisions, it affects behaviors. Whether implicit or otherwise, racial bias is evident in almost every area of healthcare, according to Andrea Hayward, director of the Community Health Worker Institute at the Center for Community Health Alignment. Biases show up in many ways, including cultural and language barriers, and limit or no access to health insurance coverage, healthcare treatment, or social services due to immigration status. These all come into play, according to Hayward. Racial bias in healthcare also goes well beyond disparities that are perhaps easier to recognize, like the lack of multilingual staff at a medical facility, as an example. It also shows itself as disparities in statistics, clinical evidence, and a whole lot more. It is the disproportionate mortality rate experienced by black women in childbirth, or the historic and present day evidence of racial bias in pain assessment and treatment. We've heard some of the stories, we've read some of the history books, especially when it comes to women in medical care and the experiments that were done on women, because it was believed that the threshold of a black woman is so much higher than that of a white woman. And so they got treated without anesthesia. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Childbirth, women of color went through it more without painkillers, without the aid of sedatives than white women did, or women of another racial persuasion. Ultimately, racial bias appears in every corner of the healthcare experience for black people and people of color across the United States, historically and even present day. So, what are some of the types of racial biases that we might experience? Well, there's implicit bias. And this is one of the most widely discussed forms of racial bias in healthcare. Implicit bias in healthcare happens when healthcare professionals make judgments and decisions about a person's medical care that are fueled by their own unconscious stereotypes and prejudices. In one analysis of available literature, researchers found that implicit racial bias from healthcare professionals can result in changes in both the treatment and clinical judgment. For example, the analysis describes how racial bias can actually affect the way certain medical interventions like pain management and intrauterine devices, IUDs, are prescribed or are recommended. We talked about that just now. Then you have an algorithm bias. This is a lesser known type of bias that can have a hugely negative impact on the healthcare experience for people of color. Algorithm bias is one of the biases that occurs when a healthcare algorithm, like one that might be used for helping with a diagnosis, expands upon already existing inequalities. There was reprint research, meaning it has not been formally peer reviewed, and it describes multiple ways in which racial bias can show up in modern AI healthcare systems. Here's an example. An overrepresentation of non-minorities, people who are not members of communities that have typically and historically been marginalized, means that many data sets used to help aid in diagnoses may be less applicable to minority communities. And many risk calculators in the past have been created based on biased statistics, which can greatly affect accurate information for people of color. Both implicit and algorithm bias, as well as other types of biases in healthcare, make it almost impossible for people of color to receive equal health and healthcare outcome. Crazy, right? But this is our reality. How then does this racial bias affect people of color in general and more specifically, black people? Racial bias in healthcare disproportionately affects black communities. In fact, you only have to look as far as a recent pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, to see the type of impact that racial bias has on black people. In one analysis of COVID-19 stats in the United States, researchers discovered that severe racial and ethnic disparities have led to higher COVID-19 mortality rates in black Americans. In fact, the disparity is so significant that black people are over 3.5 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than white people are. And these disparities in COVID-19 hospitalization, death rates, and even vaccination rates are only a small piece of a larger picture. We also know that black women are more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Black people are more likely to experience diabetes-related complications, according to the American Diabetes Association. Black people, especially black men, are more likely to be diagnosed with hypertension, according to the American Heart Association. Black people are more likely to be marginalized and misdiagnosed or overly diagnosed with mental health conditions, according to Mental Health America. But it's not just black communities that have been disproportionately affected by healthcare disparities due to racial bias. No. Other people of color experience biases that restrict access to quality care and services to address social determinants of health, according to Haywood. When it comes to COVID-19 research published in 2021, for example, we've seen that Hispanic, Asian, and American Indian communities also experience higher rates of hospitalization and death from COVID-19 than white Americans. Which is interesting because all these other groups are to be in the minority. So if there is a condition that is going around affecting everyone and people are dying from it, how is it that it's the minority groups that are dying more than the majority group? Make it make sense. It's critical to understand how issues such as disparities in health outcomes lower the quality of life and decreased life expectancies impact BIPOC communities and their full complexity, which is your BIPOC communities. Now, how do we do better? Might be a question that is on the lips of some of you listening right now. Because there has to be a way that we can do better, right? Hayward explains that many of these issues are deeply rooted in structural, institutional, and systemic racism. She stresses that it's also important to not only understand the root causes of racial bias, but also to the extent to which they span beyond the healthcare experience. When we recognize just how pervasive racial bias is, not just in healthcare, but also in education, employment, and other areas, we can see that the path to change isn't quite as simple as just training our medical professionals. No. Haywood emphasizes that our approach to change needs to be multifaceted. We must take a hard look at the healthcare system and as a whole and consider sustainable, system-wide changes, such as long-term investments in non-clinical roles, diversity within integrated care systems, and the integration of community health workers into both clinical and community settings. What does reducing racial bias look like long-term? Well, there are a few key areas that can potentially make the biggest impact if focused on right now. Ultimately, reducing racial bias in healthcare starts with creating more equitable care at the source, which can be done in part by training and supporting culturally competent healthcare professionals. The lack of cultural competency and true understanding of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC, impacts not only the quality of care as patients, but also the access to health care and social services. But it's not just enough to educate a population of healthcare professionals when there's also a lack of diversity. Having medical professionals from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds is also important. We know that cultural competency, racial, and implicit bias training is essential for healthcare providers. However, a step further is to ensure that there is also representation and diversity within care teams. Now, one thing we know for sure is the whole idea of DEI, especially in the last year. You mentioned DEI, and you may as well be offering garlic water to vampires or inviting them to take a suntan, because it's not the thing. It's not cool these days. And so it only goes to perpetuate an already horrible situation. There needs to be an integration of community health workers into more areas of healthcare. There needs to be a creation of more accessible healthcare services and funding. These are some of the things that can make a change as it relates to the disparities in healthcare. But in a time when there are so many changes being made across the United States, and as it relates to especially healthcare, you're left to wonder what type of condition the Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, what type of treatment are they going to be exposed to, even in the next year? I'm not even going to go and say a few years down the line. I'm talking about within this year into the next. It sounds crazy, right? But you do the research. You ask the questions to your search engine of choice. See what kind of results you get. Because I guarantee you, it won't be that much different from what we are talking about right now. So, what I want to do now is take a quick break. And as we take a break, there are a few things I want to make mention of. One of them is, of course, the book, the audio book, Empowered. Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. This book is authored by Jonathan Field and narrated by yours truly, Kevin Stew. It's available on Audible, and if you visit kevinstew.com, you'll see a picture of the book cover. You can just click on it right there, and it'll take you to where you need to be to purchase your download of Empowered, Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. It's a great read. Well, it's a great listen. I learned a lot as I narrated it. You will learn a lot from listening to it. I encourage you to get yours today and get one for somebody else. It's not that expensive, believe me. So you can get two, right? Also want to remind you that context matters. And it matters with ISAT Buchanan. And you can catch ISAT on a Thursday afternoon at 5 p.m. for Context Matters. Check him out. Find him on social media. Connect with him. Listen to what he has to say. Put your comments in the chat. And see what he's doing in Jamaica, in Eastern Portland. Because, you know, he is a member of Parliament now. But still, context matters.
On October 28th, Melissa, a Category 5 hurricane, turned her wrath upon our homeland, Jamaica. In the aftermath, thousands of homes were destroyed, lives, pets, and livestock were lost, and dreams and hopes dashed. Resilient as we Jamaicans are known to be, our brothers and sisters on the island need our help now. To this end, the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation, OJLDF, has launched its official fundraiser. Please donate generously at ojldf.net. We are depending on each and every one of you to get the most needed supplies to our people at home. Go to ojldf.net. That's ojldf.net and hit the donate button today. Thank you.
First Baptist Church of Sunrise, Florida presents Spring Gospel Concert on Saturday, April 4, 2026 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring Dr. Glacia Robinson,
Hold my hand today. Let's fall.
Evangelist Bridget Blurcher, Minister Leroy Smith, and Second Chance. Concert will be at First Baptist Church of Sunrise, 6401 Sunset Strip, Florida 33313. Admission $50. Tickets available at the church office. MC Bishop John Wayne Manning of Omega Radio Station and Church. Jesus is alive. See you there.
Friday, April 3rd and Saturday, April 4th. All roads lead to Crown Hill Theater in Brooklyn. Foundation meets the future with Rory Stone Love and David Radigan.
Good morning, sound boy. Long time Stone Love reach ya.
Well, this is none of the dance. The legend of the David Radigan.
Lot of mercy. Them just make on Thursday. Blessings, masses, I Rory Stone Love. Here to let you know it's all about
April the 3rd and the 4th. See? That's right, 2 nights only, where you can see David Rodigan and Rory Stone Love. See?
Make sure you're there at the Crown Hill Theatre, Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn.
Tickets available at the Crown Hill Theatre box office or log on to crownhilltheatre.com and get your tickets today. Foundation meets the future. Rory Stone Love, David Rodigan. You cannot miss this event.
Lock them up. Ready to go lock them up.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift. The night shift radio show won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Still I say DJ Kevin Stew.
Ain't going home sober.
Saturday night, take me somewhere that I've never been yet. Flashing lights, colors in the air I'll never forget. When I see that, I don't want the night to end. Caught up in your trance, waiting for my chance tonight. Give me everything you got, baby, it's alright. Pour me one more glass. All I know is after tonight, I don't wanna go home sober. Take my keys from me, you drive. I don't wanna go home sober. All I know is after tonight, I don't wanna go home sober. Take my keys from me, you drive. I don't wanna go home sober. Where do broken heart people go? I can hear them from down below. Where do broken heart people go? I just want you to take away my pain. Nobody will know, 'cause tonight I wanna be tamed by you. All I know is after tonight, I don't wanna go home sober. Take my keys from me, you drive. I don't wanna go home sober. All I know is after tonight, I don't wanna go home sober. Take my keys from me, you drive. I don't wanna go home sober.
Tonight we now go home sober. Roll up a big spliff, man, I roller. Roll up the rover, pull over. Y'all get cock up, then we drive on like a chauffeur.
Drink what you're drinking, smoke what you smoke, but tonight we ain't going home sober.
Intoxicated after the party, you probably have to call it over. Drinks, party every day. Turn up the music and make it play. Yeah, she start dance and dance for me. Whispering in my ears, and she say, love off this swagger, she love off this style. Can't believe that like she just get a life. Now even sober, even when the party over, mash it up within short by guy.
Don't you know that I'll be yours for a weekend? What happens here, stay right here where we
sound of Enzo working out with Busy. Track called Sober. I don't want to go home sober. You can always get drunk on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew because, you know, what does it hurt to get drunk on information? Get drunk on a little bit more knowledge. It doesn't hurt. You don't even want to recover from that. You want to stay inebriated with good, solid information. I think it works. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm going with that. So welcome back to the broadcast. Night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, and it's Healthy Love Night. Of course, you are invited to call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Call somebody, anybody, everybody, because this information is good for everyone. What are some of the conditions that predominantly and disproportionately affect black people? I'm going to give you the general rundown, and then I'm going to give you a list of some that are very rare, but still in the vein of affecting people of color and black people more so than they do anybody else or any other race. Now, according to Healthline, black people in the United States are more likely to develop certain conditions or have worse outcomes for those conditions. And the reasons for this are often some combination of genetic, social, and economic factors. Several conditions impact black communities more strongly than other racial groups, and some of these conditions have been more common among black people. In others, black people may have worse outcomes or develop conditions earlier. The reasons for these disparities are often complex and intertwined. We're going to look at some conditions that disproportionately affect black people in the United States and the reasons behind the disparities. And we'll also address what black people can do to close the health gap for these conditions. Now, it's important to understand why some of these disparities exist. In some cases, it can be a matter of biology and genetics, but in most cases, the disparities are rooted in several systemic issues known as social determinants of health, or SDOH. Now, these non-medical factors can influence how health outcomes, and expert group SDOHs into 5 categories. They give economic stability, which is the lack of income or employment, and it can be a significant barrier to stable housing as well as access to medical care and nutritious foods. There's education, access, and quality. Not only is your level of education often tied to your income, but education can play a role in helping you to live longer and have healthier lives. Healthcare access and quality is another. Black people in the United States are more likely to be uninsured or underinsured than their white counterparts. They also report receiving a lower standard of care. There's neighborhood and environment. Living in an area with high rates of violence or pollution can significantly affect your health. You might work in a job that exposes you to greater health risks. And then you have social and community context. Mistrust of the medical community may be deeply entrenched in some pockets of the black communities. An underlying theme throughout all the SDOHs is the impact of systemic racism. Historically, racist attitudes and policies have led to the disparities that we just addressed. Your social determinants of health affected by economic stability, education access and quality, healthcare access and quality, neighborhoods and environments, and social and community context. Now, what are some of these conditions? What are some of these diseases that affect the black community? Well, again, as we go through this list, you'll go, yeah, I knew that one. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Heart disease. Now, despite having lower rates than white people, black people in the United States are 35% more likely to die from heart disease. I'll say it again. Despite having lower rates of heart disease than white people, black people are 35% more likely to die from heart disease. And it's also more likely to affect black adults at a younger age. You can figure that out. As for many of the conditions where heart health disparities exist, the reasons are complex, but it's worth noting that black Americans have higher rates of the major risk factors of heart disease: hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and smoking. While genetics and your SDOHs may affect your ability to control these risk factors, they are modifiable and offer an opportunity to close the health gap. Will it happen? Now, next, of course, is, well, not of course, but not surprisingly on the list, is obesity. Black adults in the United States are 28% more likely to have obesity than the average US adult. And this disparity was greatest for children and teenage girls, who were 55% more likely to be diagnosed as obese. Obesity is a risk factor for several conditions and on this list, and can contribute to worse outcomes for other conditions. This disparity often has economic and geographic causes. Income disparities affects people's abilities to buy healthy food. Some people may live in food deserts or spaces where physical activity is challenging or unsafe. I'll tell you this. In a black community, you'll often find a corner store that sells a lot of junk. But you won't find the same type of corner store in a white community. As a matter of fact, you're more likely to find a store selling wholesome foods in a non-black community. Next on the list is diabetes. Black adults in the United States are nearly twice as likely as white adults to develop type 2 diabetes. That's when your body can't produce enough insulin to keep your sugar levels down. Now, this disparity is largely due to high obesity rates. Socioeconomic factors and family genetics also play a role. Complications from diabetes, like kidney disease, are also more common among black people. Efforts to control risk factors such as obesity and sedentary lifestyle are of utmost importance. So if your job has you sitting a lot, then you might want to pay attention. Get moving, get up, sit down, shake your legs, do something. Yeah? High blood pressure is next on this list. And according to the American Heart Association, 58% of black adults in the United States have high blood pressure. They're diagnosed with hypertension. And that's one of the highest rates in the world. If you're black, it's also more likely to affect you earlier in life than it does white people, according to healthline.com. The AHA lists obesity and diabetes as two major contributing factors. But stress and racial discrimination might also play a role in this disparity. The same steps that you take to control other risk factors related to heart health can help to reduce the risk of hypertension or control your blood pressure if it is already high. So keep that in mind. Kill more than one bird with one stone. Stroke. Now, I guess each of us can think about someone that we know who has had a stroke in recent times. A stroke occurs when enough blood can't get to your brain, and usually due to blockage in an artery. As with other conditions relating to cardiovascular health, black adults in the United States, you guessed it, more likely to have strokes than, and not just more likely to have them, but they're more likely to die from them. High blood pressure and diabetes are major risk factors for stroke. But so are high cholesterol, stress, and smoking. A heart-healthy lifestyle can also help to reduce your risk of stroke, even if you have a family history of it. So it being in your family is no reason for you to have it. Another one high up on the list of conditions that affect black people: sickle cell anemia. And this, believe it or not, is a rare genetic disease that affects hemoglobin in your red blood cells. It also affects how much oxygen your red blood cells can deliver to your organs and tissues. Because what happens is that your red blood cells, which carries the oxygen, they don't maintain their regular disc shape. And so the circumference that is available to pick up oxygen is reduced. And it can't transport oxygen as well as the non-sickled cells, red blood cells, that is. Now, while only 1 in every 16,300 Hispanic American babies are born with sickle cell anemia, the condition affects 1 in every 365 black newborns. About 1 in every 13 black babies carry the gene and can pass it on to the next generation. But disparities in healthcare access and quality can also affect people with sickle cell anemia. Many have trouble obtaining the pain medications they need to manage their conditions because of the racist belief about black people's perception of pain and concerns over opioid misuse. I can tell you this. I grew up with a neighbor of mine having sickle cell anemia. His name was Kevin also. And I say was because he did pass on. Typically, people with sickle cell don't live into their 30s. It's one of those sad truths. And so, if there's the ability to have the quality of life be improved in that short space of time, why shouldn't it be? But instead, we have these disparities. Sickle cell anemia is a lifelong condition with symptoms starting in childhood. I remember my friend being in pain and having to go to the hospital to get treatment that was just heartbreaking for me. And looking back at my youth and not really understanding what it was that he was going through, but still knowing that he's going through a lot. When he was having good times, there was nobody happier. Finding a doctor who understands the impact of the disease on black families can make a big difference. Fortunately for him, this was in Jamaica, surrounded by doctors that understand black families. Cancer is on the list. And according to the American Cancer Society, black people in the United States have higher death rates and shorter survival rates than any other racial group for most cancers. The American Cancer Society also acknowledges that these disparities are more due to socio-economic factors and access to care than any biological reason. Some of these cancers include breast cancer. Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. Prostate cancer. Black men are 73% more likely to develop prostate cancer than white men and are twice as likely to die from it. You'd wonder why there's this disparity and what's so different about black men and white men, why this is happening. Colorectal cancer, largely due to disparities in screening. Black people are 20% more likely to develop colorectal cancer, and this disparity only developed in the last 30 years. So it's not that old. Black men are 12% more likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer than white men. Both black men and women are more likely to be diagnosed younger. I wonder why. Do they smoke more? Is it that our people smoke more than white people? Now, this other condition I know about personally. I learned about this one as a teenager into my young adult life. Multiple myeloma. It's a type of blood cancer. Twice as common in black people than in white people. And if you had tuned in to the broadcast in the last week, you'd have heard me talk about my mother and her passing from multiple myeloma. So much so that my mother lived a life where, upon her transition, she donated her body. It was her request that her body be donated to science. The University Hospital of the West Indies had my mother's body to study and learn more about multiple myeloma in Jamaica. Why? Because my mother defied a lot of the rules associated with it. They gave her 7 years to live. My mother did 15. And every step of the way, they were charting, they were recording. Now, of course, you won't find a study or a building or anything named after my mother in Jamaica contributing to what they now know about multiple myeloma. But I can tell you, she changed a whole lot of some of the misconceptions and some of the ways that's treated in Jamaica. Kidney disease is next on this list. And according to the National Kidney Foundation, black people in the United States are more than 3 times as likely as white people to have kidney failure. They attribute this to higher rates of risk factors in people of color, such as diabetes, obesity, and high blood pressure. Doctors use a test called the estimated glomerular filtration rate, the EGFR. And this is used to test your kidney function. And historically, this test often estimated black people as having higher kidney function than they actually did. What will happen in that situation is that it will end up delaying detection and treatment for black people. National Kidney Foundation has eliminated this calculation and is working to ensure that labs across the country follow suit. Have they been doing it? But the key to management is early detection. Lupus is also on this list, and I have a couple of friends that have lupus, and sometimes it's touch and go, but they're still here. Systemic lupus is erythematosus, ESLE, is the most common type of lupus. It's an autoimmune disease that can affect various organs, and most people experience symptoms in their joints, muscles, and skin. But it can also affect the kidneys, the circulatory system, or the nervous system. Lupus is 2 to 3 times more common in black or African American communities than in white populations. And black people with lupus are also more likely to have more serious symptoms and more serious organ involvement. Now, this may be due to genetic, environmental, and social factors. For example, chronic stress associated with racism may contribute to more severe symptoms. A very common one, asthma. This occurs when the airways in your lungs narrow, making it difficult to breathe. Not surprisingly, this condition disproportionately affects children in communities with poor air quality. Kind of makes sense, right? And black communities have been the target of environmental racism, resulting in exposure to higher levels of air pollution. With redlining happening and all that, that's just how it affected black people more. According to the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, asthma is 50% more common in black people in the United States than in white people. And they're also 5 times more likely to visit the emergency department due to asthma and 3 times more likely to die from it. That's crazy. Those numbers are too wide. The good thing is that these rates have been declining since the introduction of the Affordable Care Act. The bad news is they want to do away with the Affordable Care Act. The great US of A, right? African Americans felt the brunt of HIV/AIDS in the 1980s. That disparity is even more pronounced today, with black people making up 30% of all new HIV diagnoses in the United States. And according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, the impact is felt greatest among women, young people, and men who have sex with men. About 2/3 of Black American adults and adolescents living with HIV live in the southern states. Interestingly enough, I'm gonna give you that bit in a minute. HIV treatment options have improved significantly since the 80s. We know this. And antiretroviral therapy can decrease the amount of virus in your body to where it is almost undetectable. And this lowers the risk of passing the virus on to another person. The early months of COVID-19 highlighted the impact of racial disparities in our healthcare system and our country on a whole. In May 2020, Black people were more than 3 times more likely to be admitted into the hospital for COVID-19 than white people. And they also died almost twice, at twice the rate. Many of the conditions that are more prevalent in Black communities, like obesity and sickle cell disease, can increase your risk of getting seriously ill from the virus. And issues of healthcare access and environmental racism only intensifies the impact. Something to think about as it relates to HIV in the Black community and COVID-19. Something I came across today. Studies have shown that the spike protein created by the COVID-19 virus is very similar to the HIV spike protein. Now, that can make you only think a little bit harder about what is going on, because HIV, well, COVID-19 was engineered. And so when you consider that COVID-19 is an engineered virus, and you look at HIV, you can only think, why? But hey, it's not my information. I'm just presenting it to you. What I do encourage is that you go find a little bit more about it, find out a little bit more about it for yourself. And you can get back to me and tell me what you found. How about that? Of course, you know the number, 773-789-STEW. Scrolling across the bottom of your screen, those of you that are watching, it's right there for you to get familiar with it, to get and use it up. 773-789-7839. You can call, text, WhatsApp, Telegram, anytime. And let me know your findings, because I know what I came across. And when I saw that, I thought, how coincidental, because I'm talking about this tonight, and I'm come across this today. Nothing happens by accident, though. If we know nothing else, we know that nothing happens by accident. So I was going to take one more break. However, I'm going to push right through to musical therapy, because I want to look at some rare conditions, some rare diseases that actually affect Black people more than they do white people. And some of these conditions, I'm very sure you have never heard of. You ready? All right, let's go. So we know about sickle cell. Let me touch on some on this list that you might know about. So there's sickle cell, and there is amyloidosis. amyloidosis. You might be familiar with amyloidosis, but I guess those would be it. So on this list, you have sickle cell anemia, thalassemia. I don't think many of you have heard of that one. There's hairy cell leukemia, vestibular schwannoma, hepatocellular carcinoma, osteosarcoma. That one you might be familiar with. Alport syndrome, Behçet's syndrome, factor 12 deficiency, gastrointestinal stromal tumors, let me make sure I get this right. Hyperemesis gravidarum. That's one of them that I'm gonna give you a little bit more information on. Information overload tonight, G Angel. I know this section might be a little bit overwhelming. There's IgA nephropathy. This other one you might have heard of, Kawasaki disease. Not the bike, but very well could come from the same place. There's systemic scleroderma, Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome. Yeah, those conditions would make you just want to give up. The mere fact that you're hearing about some of them for the first time. So let's touch on a few of these real quick. Factor 12 deficiency. Now, this is a rare genetic disorder, and it's a blood disorder too. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to find something here. And if I was on the break, I would have found it really quickly. Okay, here we go. Because I'm going to need this in a few moments. So, factor 12 deficiency is a rare genetic blood disorder that causes prolonged clotting of blood, so coagulation, in a test tube without the presence of prolonged clinical bleeding tendencies. Now, it is caused by a deficiency of the factor 12, the Hageman factor, plasma protein. Specifically, factor 12 is a clotting factor. Clotting factors are specialized proteins that are essential for proper clotting, the process by which blood clumps together and to plug the site of a wound to stop the bleeding. Now, although it is thought that factor 12 is needed for proper blood clotting, when it is deficient, other blood clotting factors appear to compensate for its absence. Therefore, the disorder is thought to be benign and usually presents no symptoms, so it's asymptomatic. It is usually only accidentally discovered through preoperative blood tests that are required by hospitals. So you could have it, never know that you have it. It's one of those conditions. Vestibular schwannoma. Let me go to that one. Acoustic neuroma is what is known as vestibular schwannoma. Why was the name changed? I don't know. But it's a tumor that develops on the main nerve leading from the inner ear to the brain. These tumors are considered benign, meaning they're not cancerous and they do not spread to other parts of the body. The affected nerve is called the vestibular cochlear nerve, and there's one on each side of the head. This nerve directly affects balance and hearing. Growth from an acoustic neuroma can cause hearing loss, ringing in the ear, and balance problems. Because your ears are very important when it comes to balance. That's generally where your balance center is. Acoustic neuroma can affect both ears, but usually affects just one. An acoustic neuroma may cause numbness or weakness in the muscles on the affected side of the face. It's a type of peripheral nerve tumor, and they form from the Schwann cells, the SCHWANN, which is where the schwannoma comes from. And this helps to protect and support nerve cells in the body, including the vestibular nerve. The vestibular nerve is a part of the peripheral nervous system. Although acoustic neuromas grow inside the skull, close to the brainstem, they do not arise from brain tissue and are not classified as central nervous system tumors. Acoustic neuromas may sometimes be referred to as a type of benign brain tumor because of the location, but technically, they're not. They're generally slow growing and rarely become large enough to press against the brain and affect vital functions, but it can throw off your balance. Every year, fewer than 1 in 20,000 people are diagnosed with it, and about 1 in 5,000 over the age of 70 are diagnosed each year. So it's really, really, really rare, but something to consider as it relates to conditions that disproportionately affect black people. The next one on this list is Behcet disease, and this one is spelled Behcet. Now the C that it is spelled with is that little French C with a little tail on it, which gives you the CH sound, so it's Behcet disease. It's also called Behcet syndrome, and it causes blood vessel swelling throughout the body. Now, just the thought of your blood vessel swelling, it just sounds painful. The thought is painful. So you can imagine someone else is going through it. The symptoms can be like they aren't related at first, but they can include mouth sores, eye irritation and swelling, skin rashes and sores, and genital sores. Treatment involves medicines to ease symptoms of Behcet disease and prevent serious complications such as blindness. Now get this. Behcet's disease symptoms vary from person to person and can come and go or become less serious over time. The symptoms depend on which parts of the body the condition affects. It most often affects the mouth, with painful mouth sores that look like canker sores, and those are the most common sign of Behcet's disease. They begin as raised round sores inside the mouth, and they quickly turn into painful ulcers. The sores most often heal in 1 to 3 weeks, but they often come back. The thought of a sore inside your mouth is enough to make someone weighing 250 pounds quickly weigh 100. I'm thinking I want nothing in my mouth if that is happening. I don't even like biting my tongue. On the skin, some people get sores that look like acne on their bodies. Others get raised and tender growths called nodules on their skin, mainly on the lower legs. If it shows up on the genitals, open sores can happen on the scrotum or the vulva, and the sores are most often painful and can leave scars. There goes the love life. Immediately upon that diagnosis, I'm never making love again. No, I can't see the pleasure coming from that. In the eyes, irritation and swelling called inflammation in the eye causes redness, pain, and blurred vision. This is generally referred to as uveitis. And this inflammation most often affects both eyes. In people with Behçet's disease, these symptoms come and go. In the joints, joint swelling and pain often affect the knees in people with Behçet's disease. The ankles, elbows, and wrists might also get involved because they don't want to feel left out. And the symptoms can last 1 to 3 weeks, generally go away on their own. Now, it says nothing about taking painkillers to alleviate the pain, but I'm pretty sure that some strong prescription meds would help. Blood vessels. Swelling in veins and arteries can cause redness and pain. It can cause a blood clot, which leads to swelling in the arms and legs, and inflammation in large arteries can lead to complications. These include bulges in the artery that can burst. So you run the risk of having an aneurysm. And then you have narrowed or blocked blood vessels. Again, now you have the risk of strokes. You have the risk of pulmonary embolisms. The list of risks just grow and grow and grow. Then you have digestive system effects. Several symptoms can affect the network of organs that digest food, and symptoms may include belly pain, diarrhea, and bleeding. Now, but if it's in the digestive system, you're talking about anywhere from the mouth to the anus. Again, there's no time that this disease can be comfortable to anyone. Last but by no means least, it can affect the brain. There can be inflammation in the brain and the nervous system. These can cause headaches, fever, confusion, poor balance, and, like we mentioned before, could cause a stroke. You definitely want to see your healthcare professional if you have symptoms that might be related to Behçet's disease. If you've been diagnosed with Behçet's disease, you definitely want to be seeing your healthcare professional regularly. But this is one of those that is just mind-blowing. it might be caused by, it might be an autoimmune disorder. It's likely that gene changes and factors in the environment play a role in the cause of Behçet's disease. And experts believe that swelling of the blood vessels causes the symptoms of Behçet's disease, so the vasculitis. Now, the condition that can involve arteries and veins of this condition can affect arteries and veins of all sizes, so it's not restricted to any particular area. And it can damage blood vessels all throughout the body. Some genes might make people more likely to get Behçet's disease, and some researchers think that a germ can trigger the disease in people who have these particular genes. Factors that might increase your risk of Behçet's disease include age. Behçet's disease most often affects people in their 20s and 30s, but children and older adults can have the condition. But if you're in your 20s and 30s, hey, people from countries in the Middle East and East Asia, including Turkey, Iran, Japan, China, these people are more likely to get Behçet's disease. So, not so much black people in the US. Behçet's disease can happen to anyone, but it's most often worse in people who are assigned male at birth. So, if throughout your life you decided to transition, chances are you won't be getting Behçet's disease. And of course, certain genes may be linked with a higher risk of getting Behçet's disease. So, all these conditions have a little bit more information to them. You know, like acoustic neuroma, you can have hearing loss being associated with it. And in some people, the tumor is linked to a change in the gene chromosome 22. You know, this gene makes a protein that helps control the growth of the Schwann cells. And so you have that coming into play. And when you look at some of these more rare conditions that disproportionately affect people of color and or should just say non-white, non-Caucasian people, it makes you pause because you're looking at disparities. This comes into consideration. The way others are treated, minorities on a whole, are treated in our healthcare system. The expectation that, or the belief that there's a tolerance level for pain that is different with black people than it is for white people. And so you have misdiagnoses, you have underdiagnosed individuals. But when you think of the people who work in the healthcare sector, who are just as marginalized as the people who are getting treated, how do you think they feel? So, for you all that are listening who are in the healthcare business, when it comes to your own kind being treated less than, how do you feel about it? If it's in a facility that you work, would you go to that facility if you need care? These are some of the things that I think about. But I'm not in the healthcare business. But I should have that concern because I need the healthcare business for my own care. hopefully, by the time I'm in need of serious medical care, all this will be sorted out. Because we'll have people that care more about people than they do pockets. And so we would end up getting better treatment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Enough is enough. Dirty virus.
As we jump into musical therapy,
Vicious 19 year.
a little bit of Ed Robinson for you.
Vicious 19 year.
Channeling his inner Tosh.
Ever since that day you came on this earth, you cause us pain, you make us hurt. Yes, we've been blind, but now the world can see. You're not alone around here, so take your owners and flee. Watch when a Lucifer, yo, dirty virus, vicious 19 year. You know, welcome round here. Dirty virus, where you from? Vicious 19 year. Carry some of them oppressors there when you leave. You like an evil spirit, you locked us down. We could not make one single sound. But like a yard man, we'll use the words and free the nation, free as the birds. Together we'll chant dirty virus. That's a good word. Vicious 19 year. That's a easy good one. Dirty virus. You try stop us, we'll stop you. Vicious 19 year. Right now, me tell you, listen up. Our doctors and nurses, your respect is still. Keep on, fight the fight till the last one heal. So until that day when we can congregate, keep on, share this love, but let the virus kill the hate. So until then, let's chant dirty virus. I hope you know we have some more class. Vicious 19 year. You think you can stop us from put them together? Dirty virus. Vicious 19 year. Yo, I know for sure some mainstream woodlands won't play this one on their radios. But who round ya care? We never need them then, so we don't need them now. Hey, fool, got us, yo. A long time you remind we had these germs, yeah. Dirty virus. How you want me to call your right name? Vicious 19 year. Now I'm interested in remembering your name. Dirty virus.
I used to play this one a whole lot. Play this in a minute. Bouncing through musical therapy. Here's another one, another blast from the past for you.
People are afraid, they are petrified.
This is Mikey Tough and the Friend of Fire Band.
Cup in a them house, them don't want to go outside. All of the clubs and pubs locked down, I can't even dance to my champion sound, but I stay strong. Ready for self-isolation, Sean. Now we're under attack, drones from out of space. So if you're going out, put gloves on, put a mask over your face.
Me all I wrap up my dreadlocks and bring my cleansing cream with me. Maintain a good personal hygiene and stay 3 meters away from me. So I say go straight out the door. Coronavirus, you're not welcome anymore. Were you the one who tried to make me lay down and die? You think I'd grumble? You think I'd lay down and cry? I will survive. I will survive. Just as long as I know how to live, I know I'll stay alive. Clean out your house good, disinfect and sterilize. I've got my ceiling fan, domestos and my beer on by my side. Hope and pray the NHS don't fall apart. Big up the doctors and the nurses, we keep them in our thoughts. All those hours that them working just to keep people alive. Maximum respect due to all of you. My heart is full of pride. Now you see me say respect you. I'm not that selfish person in that supermarket queue. So if you feel like pushing past vulnerable people and I see all that anger that's inside, you don't want to upset me. So I say go straight out the door. Coronavirus, you're not welcome anymore. Were you the one who tried to hurt me with your lies? You think I'd grumble? You think I'd lay down and cry? Oh no, not I will survive. Yeah, as long as I know how to live, I know I will survive. People, clean out your house good, disinfect and sterilize. I've got my ceiling fan, domestos and my beer on by my side. So if just like me, you have lost good friends, and you don't know if it's corona or government and murder them. Hello? One thing I know, just make sure you not end up in a hospital. Me not go make no doctor joke me. Me not take no vaccination. So I say go straight out the door. Coronavirus, you're not welcome anymore. People, clean out your house good, disinfect and sterilize. I've got my ceiling bang, domestos and my beer on by my side. Now they say that domestic abuse is on the increase because of all them dirty liars and them bedroom cheats. True lockdown, them can't sneak out, and their lover is all alone. So they keep texting, sending messages to your mobile phone. Your partner find out, and them get vexed. Them sip your naked picture, worse than that, them read them intimate text. Oh, but just like Shaggy, you tell them, no, it wasn't me. No, you see all this corona causing your misery. So she say, go, sleep on the floor. As far as she's concerned, you're not gonna get her zoom zoom anymore. She treat you good, she treat you like a king and a man. And just because you couldn't keep your little something in your pants, so I say go straight out the door. Coronavirus, you're not welcome anymore. Were you the one who tried to make me lay down and die? You think I'd crumble? You think I'd lay down and die? No, to all those shopkeepers who are going to thief. What was £1.99 is £3.45 this week. Oh, now let me send out a little warning to all of them. I will send for all my friends, thief out your things and share with them. So I say go straight out the door. Coronavirus, you're not welcome anymore. Clean out your house good, disinfect and sterilize. I've got my ceiling fan, domestos and my beer on by my side. I will survive, I will survive, yeah, as long as I know.
Mike Tough and the Friendly Fire Band.
Life, hey.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've played that one.
Disinfect and sterilize.
Now, as we bounce through musical therapy some more, I have some new tracks for you.
My side, so I say go.
And I know some of these two tracks that I just played, some of you have never heard them before because you only started listening to me recently. But that's okay, because good music never dies with me. And so I have some new music coming out of the Global Bass family. whether directly or indirectly. When I say indirectly, I'll explain when I get to that one. So I have what? 15 minutes. Let me give you this one from Yamistic. His rendition of Don't Ever Wonder. Yeah, Mystic is so effortless with it. Just grooving through. Get them, yeah, Mystic. Talk about the Greaves brothers. You've heard me play them individually. Now I'm gonna play them together for you.
You must be a special lady.
Yo, Teddy, I think you should take the first one.
And a very exciting girl.
Teddy Greaves.
I think you should.
Yishka.
You gotta be
Gershie.
lady.
No, man, I better you sing it, Bridge.
Cause you got me sitting on top of the world.
The rendition of Special Lady.
On top of the world.
Come in, my brother. Somehow I knew it would be you to change my gray skies to blue. And it was strange when you called my name. Ever since that day, I haven't been the same. Before I met you, my sun didn't want to shine. But all of a sudden you snuck up from behind.
Next track I'm gonna play. Those of you that were tuned in on Saturday, you got this one.
You gotta be a special.
Yeah, you were introduced to it. New music from Ed Robinson. A track called Sexy Lady. In the background, the Greaves Brothers, Special Lady.
And a very exciting girl.
Nice new music coming out of the global bass. This one is the third of three that I'm going to play coming out of the global bass family. Ed Robinson. Like I said, if you were tuning in on Saturday, you heard it. Some of you hearing it for the first time today.
Hey, sexy lady. Hey, sexy lady. Hi, this is Ed Robinson. No matter what you're doing right now, stop it. Because guess what? Kevin Stew is at the control. Tune in, sing. To protect, show respect, and keep you satisfied. Would he swim the deepest sea or climb the highest mountain? Protect your heart from ever being broken. Are you the only rose in this garden? Does his love for you flow like a water fountain? Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Warm my soul like a cup of tea. Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Warm my soul like a cup of tea. If something is missing, I'm hoping and wishing you would look my way. I'll be your sunshine on cloudy days when the rain falls from the sky. I'll be your shelter to keep you dry. Just like the 4th of July, I'll put the sparkles in your eyes. Kiss your lips, you get butterflies. You caught my eye, and I can't deny. I don't wanna be just a passerby. What would it take for me to be your guy? Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Warm my soul like a cup of tea. Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Warm my soul like a cup of tea. It would be so thrilling if you would be willing.
Yeah, man, toss a little trombone in there.
Fun and laughter when the sun goes down. Such a pretty face shouldn't wear a frown. If you need a smile, I'll be your clown. Yeah. Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me.
Yeah, G Angel, I know you like this one.
So like a cup of tea. Yeah. Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Warm my soul like a cup.
G, are you in my sing mode?
If something is missing, I'm hoping and wishing you would look my way. I'll be your sunshine on cloudy days when the rain falls from the sky. I'll be your shelter to keep you dry. Just like the 4th of July, I'll put the sparkles in your eyes. Kiss your lips, you get butterflies. You caught my eye, and I can't deny. I don't wanna be just a passerby. What would it take for me to be your guy? Hey, sexy lady, you make my heart sing a melody just by the way you smile at me. Way you smile, I say like a cup of tea. Hey, sexy lady, hey, sexy lady, just by the way you smile.
And brand new track from South Florida's, one of South Florida's top bands. Let me tell you, classy band. This is Code Red. Brand new music from them. Track called Neighbor. Listen to this one because there's message in this music.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you love them today. I love, hey, hey. I love. Tell your neighbor they might wanna hear you say, I love you. I love.
the message and the music.
You never know what someone's going through. Words are very powerful, so you should take every opportunity to say, I love you. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you love them today. I love you. I love. Tell your neighbor, they might wanna hear you say, I love you. I love you. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you love them today. I love you. I love. Tell your neighbor, they might wanna hear you say, I love you. I love you. There's someone out there having a bad day. The landlord keeps calling, time to pay. Pick up the phone, call them and say, I love you. Turn to your neighbor.
I just want y'all to know,
Love them today. I love you.
since I haven't told you today,
Tell your neighbor,
I love you.
might wanna hear you say, I love you. I love
And if nobody else told you,
neighbor
just know I did, yeah?
and tell them you love
The track is called Neighbor, courtesy of the Code Red Band.
Tell your neighbor, they might wanna hear
And this is how we part company tonight.
I love you.
And I want to remind you, look out for members of your community. Your community is not just a development that you live in. It spreads far and wide.
3 words that
So those that you pass on the bus, the plane, the boat, the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is Kevin Stew, so I like to do it to you, for you, and with you. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, kevinstew.com. The night shift with DJ Kevin Stew and affiliates.
what someone's going through. Words are very powerful, so you should
I'll catch up with some of y'all
every opportunity
on Saturday.
to say, I love you. Look at your neighbor, say I love you.
Yeah, 3 p.m.
Don't wanna
Reason with Rattigan. And then at 8, with the Saturday Stew, you get to hear some more of these tracks right here.
words can do me a favor.
That's it, G Angel. Share the love.
Say I love you. No matter
Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world from right here in South Florida. I wish you all a good night. Be good. But if you can't be good at it. I'm out of here, y'all. Take care.
I love you. No matter what you're going through. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The night shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.